Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Let's see. First off, you may notice that I'm not Tony. Tony unfortunately got COVID, so he decided not to pass it on to the rest of us. Some people do anything to get out of a meeting. I hope we wish him well. I think he was tested positive on Tuesday, so he should be getting close to the end. Okay. The last official meeting was June 29th, and that the minutes are in the packet you got. If you want to take a minute for them, but I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Jenna? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. As I said, that was the last official meeting. Our meeting in September didn't have a quorum, so per the Maryland Code, we are allowed to make this a quorum no matter how many people are here. So this will count as an official meeting. Okay, let's go into the committees. I think most of the people here. Rhea, do you want to update us on the roads?
Yes.
We have roads.
Well, we completed the paving, this year's paving. Total cost was $247,672, most of which was funded from the special tax district, $180,000 of it. The rest of it was split between covenant fees and state highway user revenue. A beach came down, an electric pole came down at the beach during the construction of the spur and so on, and Smecco replaced that pole, put it back up November 16th, so that was good. Beach restoration, which Michael talked about, that came in at a final cost of $128,873, and that includes all the permitting and engineering and construction, so it came in under budget, which is good. We have rocks placed on Riverview Causeway that block people from parking, sort of just off the road, which if you're familiar with the Riverview Causeway, blocks traffic from going through. So we did that. I'm sure I haven't had any complaints. I did have one person call and thank me, so that was good. Carl Bowen, our tree guy, is going to be doing a 3-year cutback at a cost of about $28,000. It's pricey, but it's supposed to last for 3 to 5 years, and that's a major cutback of the overhanging and then the ground level vegetation that's a little too thick for Joe Bateman, our day laborer, to be able to get out of there with our equipment. So that'll be happening in the coming weeks. And the Bay Causeway pipe was clogged badly, and the usual company contractor that gets it unclogged just wasn't able to, didn't have the equipment and so on. Jake Helpingwood came in and finally got it unclogged. He sent me a picture. I was so happy. Cost of $11.55 on that, but all the previous attempts have failed, so it was worth the money. That's it.
Okay, good. You mentioned on the roads, we have Steve Rowe is a fairly new resident. He's been in a couple of years, I think, or maybe 3. When we needed to have a new program or project manager to take care of our roads to replace Jeff McDonald, who had retired a couple of years ago, Steve expressed interest, and Steve's got a good background in project management and things like that. He's not a highway engineer, but he's got a good level head and good project manager. So we basically hired Steve. Jeff did some mentoring with him before the paving started, but between the two of them, and especially Steve, did a fantastic job. I mean, this paving project went so much smoother than the past couple of years. We had somebody in between Steve and Jeff that didn't work out and wouldn't pay enough attention to the contractors. So this is really proven to be a real plus for us. So if you happen to see Steve running around, he's got about as much hair as I am, but he's a lot younger. And he's out running on the roads here every once in a while. Anyway, so Steve, that was really a great deal, and Steve did a great job for us.
And can I just
And
add
he'll
something?
stay on to do future major projects.
And can I add something to that? He's been working, we still have maybe 8 or 10 items on the stormwater management list. And he's been in touch with various property owners to, determine what they feel needs to be done. And he's been out there in the rain looking to see what is it that's happening when it rains and so on. So he's working on that as well.
Yeah. Anyway, that's been a real plus. Okay. Environment, Bonnie? Oh, there you are.
I have nothing, but I'll pass it over to Jimmy, because I know he started.
I just wanted to mention the next Ivy League is going to be held on January 13th from 10 to 12. We hope to be doing a lot on Code Drive. And Ria's going to be sending out an email a couple weeks ahead of time to let us know exactly what the full details will be on that. So
Jenny, will you just let people know what it is if there's anybody here that doesn't know?
we just go out during the cooler months and remove ivy from trees on some of the lots here. We do a window method, and the details of that method will be described in the email. So we hope you can join us. We are saving trees, and we're making a difference. So
It's also fun, and it's a good way to take out your aggression. So encourage you to come out and try it. It is actually kind of fun, and you really can see the fruit of your labor when you knock that ivy off. And it really helps out in the long run.
Do you need to bring your own tools, or?
it would be helpful. You just need a screwdriver and maybe a pair of snippers. But and if you have
like pruning, pruning,
yeah,
heavy pruning, because some of that ivy gets that wide.
pretty thick, yeah.
It's basically just a matter of prying, using a screwdriver or some kind of a tool to pry it away from the tree where you can cut it.
Or a little saw. If
Or a
you have
little
something
saw,
like
yeah.
that.
People, we have all kinds of different tools out there. People bring pruning loppers and all kinds
And
of.
they lose them, that's why they're up.
Well,
They lose them, that's why
Sure.
they're up.
January 13th,
yeah.
between 10 and 12.
Okay. Welcoming committee.
I think, sales have slowed down, so, not distributing quite as many, but it's still, I think it's a successful effort. We've distributed 163 buckets since we began in 2017. And it's a great way, as I'm sure you've heard me say, for me to be able to get the information, mailing addresses if you don't live in the house, maybe it's a secondary, vacation home or rental or something like that. So it's worked out very well.
Okay, good. Rhea, can you fill us in on what John's done on safety? Our new safety committee.
John Lathrop, who actually is out of town this weekend, so
Yeah.
he couldn't be here. But he has sent an email to what has been the committee members for the safety committee. And he's gotten some response on that. He's asking, are you still interested in helping out? Should there be a need? And is your contact information up to date? But he's also been in touch with the county emergency management office to update some of their contact information. Because it's been a couple of years since there was any major, after Maggie did take care of some office, or,
She did some cleanup.
thank you, the cleanup in that emergency office, or whatever, I'm not sure what you call it, Communities Emergency Services Center, that's what we call it now. And so she did that, but John has been in touch with the county, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, it's one of those things you hope we never have to use. But we do have, a few emergency supplies and communications, so if in a big storm or something, we became stranded or lost communication, we have ways to get a hold of the county via radio and stuff. So that's,
Just as an aside, and to add to that, the generator has been having some issues, and it's up and running right now, but they've been trying various things to, there's a motherboard in there, the battery wasn't staying charged, all kinds of things. we haven't been charged for anything yet because he wasn't sure. So if he took apart and tried and that didn't work, we're not going to charge for that, or all of this time that it's taken. But in any case, it's being worked on, and last I knew it is up and running.
Okay. Jack, how's our finances doing?
Well, we're doing okay. Our 3 regular reports in your packet of papers to look over. First one is the balance sheet, single page. Everything looks good. Should look very similar to our last meeting. We don't want any big abrupt changes. But all the line items are just where we expect to be. Nothing really too remarkable that you can point out on this one. The other one is profit and loss budget versus actual. So this is how much we spent versus how much we budgeted. And our year begins July 1st fiscal year. So this is since July 1. And just about every category, we're just exactly where we hope to be. 1 or 2 are maybe over budget. The only really significant one would be the major road paving and rejuvenation. We ended up doing a bit more work, especially down at the beach area, while they were paving. So we did a little bit extra, it cost a little bit extra. But that's the only one you'll see that one line item that is a little bit over budget. But overall, we're in very good shape. All the other categories are under budget, or about where we expect to be this time of year.
The budget is as projected to the end of the year, right? And the actuals here are for November.
Correct. End of the year being June 30th.
For June 30th, yeah.
If there's any questions, I'm glad to answer them.
Any questions on finances?
Connected to power? Is it connected to power?
There it
Yeah,
is,
here.
it just came on.
Just slow. Okay, if you want to spin around or turn your neck or whatever, give a little rundown on the beach restoration project. Okay, so back in 2020, come on. Start this all over again. Guess we don't want slideshow. Okay, let's try this. Okay. try again, okay. So back on a cold morning in January of 2020, after we had talked about how can we try to save the beach, Gary Heels, past president of the association here, and I met, and a couple other people met with Scott Hardaway from Coastline Design. It's a marine engineering group in Virginia that's done a lot of the work designing basically preservation and shoreline restoration on the Potomac, on the Patuxent, over at the base, all kinds of places. So we had this cold meeting with them, and we looked at, surveyed basically what we were looking at, what the problems were. At that time, it really didn't look too bad, except that broken up asphalt at the bottom of the picture. Anyway, so Coastline went off, and then came up with an engineering study to some options that we could consider to fix the beach or to hold the beach. And this is just a reminder of what it did look like. That was at the end of the road going in there. The asphalt was all broken up and it shedding off in different areas. Some of it buried, and this actually wasn't too bad other than some roots. This was that same day. Okay, so fast forward then to this year. We got our contract let in September. Got Resource Restoration Group from up in northern part of, I think, Anne Arundel. It's done a lot of work for Corps of Engineers and other people. They ended up winning the bid. They were actually the low bidder, came in at $92,000, which was about $30,000 than we guessed it might come in. So they got started on the work and started bringing in tons of rock. So this is the beginning of the spur going out to help hold the beach, which is on the right-hand side. And these pictures are just going to be progress. This is the base of the spur, and that asphalt down in the lower left-hand corner was kind of the end where the old road broke off, and you can see how the asphalt was breaking up. This is the base. This basically is securing the base of the spur. Okay, this is just moving rock around, but there's the excavators and so forth, and the filter screen out in the water. So basically what they had to do was take that excavator, go out into the water and stack rocks. It was an interesting process. They did get slowed down about a week. We had a time of pretty high tides for this time of year. I think there was a storm and some other stuff. That pretty much slowed them down for about a week. Just couldn't get the equipment out there. Okay, a little later, a couple more days in September, almost out to the end. You can see how they did a great job on this. They really put a lot of effort into building a base and then putting fairly flat rocks. Yeah, so you can actually walk out there pretty safely, although we're going to put some signs up that'll say you're doing it at your own risk, just in case somebody tries to do something stupid. But people will be able to walk out there and fish or whatever. I think it's going to be pretty nice. Okay, this is that same picture a couple pictures ago. This is the base now, pretty well filled in. Okay, now you're seeing sand coming in. That's rock material that's going to go out and continue going out onto the spur. And you can see the end of the road there is still a jagged asphalt area, still losing some asphalt. Okay, this is just about done as far as the spur goes. So you can see how flat it is walking out. It's not big jagged rocks and and this is looking back in towards the shore. These guys were great to work with. They were very responsive. The coastline guys would come down and inspect things about once a week. Everybody worked well together on it. Now this is basically starting to build sand back up. Late October, just about done. Your silk curtain's gone. Surveys have been done. They basically do a survey of all this work that becomes part of the records of it, goes to the state and everything. But they basically did a survey about every 6 foot in a large, just the whole thing. And they took a section shot in every one of those, you know, like a laser shot that tags every one of those. So they'll be able to go back and we can see, you know, using that, can see if things change or how they change. Okay, now we're looking at the beach, just about filled in. In fact, we started to see some gain of sand back in there towards the jetty. Okay, let me just go back to this one. Okay, about center part of the picture to the left, before you get to the end of the road. And by the way, they cut the road off in a straight line, got rid of that old asphalt, and then built sand and rock back up into it to hold it. But part of our permitting process required beach planting. We had to put in some marsh grass to try to help hold the beach. So basically, from the end of the road down to the base of the spur and out maybe another 30 or 40 feet, but not into the actual usable part of the beach, that's where the marsh grass was planted. And part of the deal on that, according to the state, the agency that is basically MDE, Department of Environment, they have a group that does all this shore restoration work. And part of the deal on that was you have to put that planting in and you have to maintain it for 5 years and make sure it, you know, it stays and it continues to grow, or you have to replenish it. Well, that's kind of ominous. And they also require that be fenced in so geese can't get in there and eat all the plants.
That's just temporary, or is
Yeah,
that?
it's temporary.
Okay.
As long as we're, like I said, it says 5 years. They've been kind of wishy-washy on whether it really has to be 5 years or not. But, you know, we'll keep it in there for at least a year and see how it's doing. It's kind of problematic because the fence itself is, you know, what they basically say is, they call it goose exclusion fencing, which if you look that up, it ends up being like plastic mesh type fence. So that's not gonna last forever. And then they wanted blaze orange fencing. Well, they backed off on that and said, well, put some orange ribbon on it. So we did that.
And if I may, I have to do a report once a year for 5 years. I turned in the first one, and I sent it certified, so they received it. Then I got an email from Mel Throckmorton. They were great to work with, too.
Yeah.
Saying, I received it, everything looks good, and thanks. See you next year.
Just that we're maintaining it.
That we're maintaining it, yeah. Pictures and so forth.
Now, we had hoped to have it open, and this was about the end of the project as far as, except the planning. So we had hoped to have it all open in early November. But we had to wait for the county to come inspect and all the rest of that. So basically, almost December, and we finally get it back opened up. We had to keep it closed until we had it inspected, until we had it fenced and all that stuff. So, you know, it's unfortunate, but, you know, so we ended up a little behind schedule on that, but not bad. Okay, here's some of that beautiful fencing. What we decided to do was we started off thinking just posts at the end of that road. to discourage people from driving or walking or whatever. And you'd think they wouldn't do it, but unfortunately, there are some people who don't think. Anyway. So then Joe Bateman put kind of a railing across the top to further discourage people from walking out there into the grassy area. We have to keep that preserved. So we're gonna have to live with that, but it still left the beach area open. We've actually seen a growth of sand back in there, so hopefully it's gonna be a good project and it's gonna really help the beach. I guess we don't have a picture of it. Let me do that.
I noticed that there are some, it looks like berms on the side, on the lake side. Is that new or?
Well, actually,
what's the purpose of
there was a storm back over a year ago.
Yeah,
2
yeah,
years ago.
it's been.
It really dumped a lot of sand. I mean, it buried the picnic tables.
Right.
basically. So we thought, well, let's just save that. So we pushed it off to the side, and I think that's what
That's
you're
the
thinking is
berms
a
one.
burn.
Okay, yeah.
We figured, well, someday we may need it. Just keep it, and if we need to, we push it back.
Well, I will be removing, I say we, like I'm gonna get out there and help. I might, the potty
Yeah, that's
surround.
what I'm trying to find a
that's
picture.
coming
Yeah,
away.
Joe's gonna like
here's a picture of it.
pack it
Yeah.
apart, yeah.
So you're gonna take it away?
So that's gonna be taken
Yeah,
away,
yeah.
because the truck can't get back in there anyway to put the porta potty behind it. So he'll break it up and, maybe I'll help get it into a truck. Anyway, it should be removed.
Yeah, there's a
They're
light,
coming.
a light post right behind.
That's the
it.
one,
Yeah,
that's the one that was
replaced.
just
Okay.
replaced.
That's what she
That came
mentioned.
down with
That
that storm.
That came down in a storm.
Okay.
And Smecco was good about coming and
Yeah, they were.
fixing it.
So then and there won't be a porta potty here at all?
There
Well,
will,
there will
but
be.
it'll be to the left. I've had it picked up now, but as you come in on the driveway,
Mhm.
it'll be on the left, kind of up against the wooded area. That's where it's been really for a while since that storm, because the sand came in so much,
Yeah.
the truck couldn't get back there, and it would have gotten bogged down.
And then I noticed a sign that said no parking on the,
Loose sand.
loose sand.
Well, that's because people, as Mike said, don't use their reins, and they go back in there like they're on, four-wheeling somewhere
And
on banks.
We have put
And
some
they get
posts,
stuck.
we
Yeah.
put some
Yeah,
posts in those areas where we don't want people to drive.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that.
Basically bollards that'll try to discourage that
Okay, thank you, that's good.
until they pull them out or run them over or, something
Fun
stupid.
stuff. We're looking at new camera systems too.
Yeah,
We will be. So,
so, anyway,
we'll see.
I hope you like it. I think it'll be a great improvement for the community. Any more questions on that, or?
Are these pictures on the website?
Well,
Some are,
if they
but not
we'll
all
put
of
them- Some of
these.
them
Some are.
are. I can send you,
You'll send them all to
well,
me. I will put them up in sequential.
here, I'll just give you the USB drive, and you can load them in.
All right, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All right. Next order, we've got a nominating committee, Kurt Larson's heading it up. That'll really come to, March will be when we bring a slate up and elect the new, most of us are basically repeating and staying on unless you want to. If somebody wants to take my place, but, so that'll be coming up in March. We'll be just sending out information on the slate. Any public comments?
I've got a question. I think it was August, I was working in my yard, sweating profusely. And this guy in a Smecco truck pulled up and was walking up and down the street and petty little meter thing. Finally, he come up to me and said that Smecco was planning to get rid of the telephone, the poles out on at least our street. And where do you want the transformer? Where in your yard do you want it? I told him next door, but.
Yeah.
So is that in the plans?
I haven't heard anything, but I saw a guy in our area too. You know, they did bury the lines on Deer Drive in Johnson.
Okay.
But I
and-
had a letter about that. They sent the office a letter about Deer Drive and Johnson. I haven't heard anything about
No, I haven't either.
He
But
said it was planned for next summer.
well, there was a guy doing something similar on Leeson Cove area. So I hope they are, but.
Yeah, it's good news.
Yeah, new news to us, yeah.
Yeah, they seem to be doing it in sections, and their rationale, I asked them why they were doing Deer Drive. Well, that's an area where we have more loss of power, more down trees, and et cetera, so they said that was our priority. So, I guess we'll see. But basically, I think they basically have an easement along the side of the road, so they can put a transformer in. You can help, now like down at the yacht club, they were real good working with us about where to put it, how to hide it as best you can and that kind of stuff, but.
This lady over here had a question, yeah.
I have a question about that. I live on Deer Drive and our lines were buried, which is fabulous. I talked to Smecco because I have a pole with a light on it. The poles they said on Deer Drive were sold to Verizon and then they were sold, I think, again. So I think it's wonderful they're gonna pull them down, but they haven't told us anything about it. That's been a couple of years now, but they said they were sold. Verizon owned them all, and then I think they sold the poles.
They may, because Verizon and Comcast are still using
Right.
the poles for utilities.
Right. Well, I think it'd be fantastic if they took them, because I want to have my pole moved. And it was gonna be $2,500 to move it 6 feet, so just on tape.
Bill?
I live on Deer Drive too. Smecco did a great job.
They did.
The problem is, shockingly, with Comcast, okay? What poles they have, they dug around them, cut a lot of things. I don't know, how are they gonna get rid of these? Where are they gonna put them? They still have wires to bring in. Where are they gonna put them?
They're not gonna take them down. They're not gonna spend the money to bury it.
Okay, that's what I figured.
It took them forever like on the island.
Yeah.
The Smecco came in and buried those power lines. And Comcast and Verizon took forever, so they had to leave that up, and they had to, then they had to go in and do their burying, and I'm sure it cost them. So if they do it in our areas, I'll be surprised.
Okay. Was this a monetary thing where they didn't agree to bury it along with Smecco? I mean, it makes no sense.
I think on the island, there was some kind of a negotiated agreement between the three utilities, and the county was probably involved somewhere along. I don't know. So that's kind of out of our control, but.
So we had problems with Comcast cutting stuff and it's.
If we hear anything through the John Boy, we'll publish whatever we hear. But
It would
I
be nice
can't-
to have another supplier, cable supplier.
Oh,
yeah, if we
absolutely.
could ever get a wireless cable supplier or something like that, Verizon, that's going to have to go away. Nobody's using copper anymore. So. And they will not maintain anything. If we try to get anything done, forget it.
It's a joke.
They wait until it comes down. Comcast the same,
Right. Yeah, they won't
unlike
clear,
Smecco.
they won't clear trees, they won't do anything. Anything else?
I
Yeah.
have a question about the paving. It's not a complaint, it's really just a question. So I'm on Cree, and they did it, it was beautiful, and then I came home one day and there was an orange line next to the road, and then the next day they dug it up and put something else down. Do you know what happened with that? I don't think that was the original plan unless that's how they paved, but.
Say it again.
So they paved the road
On Create.
on Cree and the surrounding roads there, and then they came and dug up the edges again, I think, and put down like gravel.
Oh, it's CR6 they put in, and that comes in after the paving, and it makes a nice transition to the side of the road, so it's, rather than just an abrupt drop off.
Okay,
with
so
too much
it was
pavement.
intentional.
It was
I'm just
intentional.
curious, okay.
Yeah.
It looks really, that siding, the gravel actually is really good.
It looks pretty good, and it's
Yeah.
actually,
Can't
it,
see mine.
you know, some grass will come up through it.
Gotcha,
It
okay,
is-
thank you.
It preserves the side of the road
Yeah,
and
and-
it,
yeah.
Okay.
now, if you have a paved driveway, then what they do is they cut into that and they bring the asphalt up
Mhm.
and butt it into that, where they cut
They
it.
they did a good
But
job.
if you have a
of that.
gravel driveway, then the only recourse really is to, just run that berm down and merge it into your driveway.
And they actually added gravel where we had some, like a gravel parking area.
Right. Anything else? All right. Well, everybody have a great holiday, Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.